What's going on, guys? As you see, we got some visuals up here in a minute. I'll explain that in just a second. But we always try to spend the first 10 minutes building out a larger idea that usually goes underappreciated or maybe deserves a different type of highlight that might have been kind of flushed out or thought about, but we try to bring a different perspective on it or just a different taste. So what I wanted to do tonight was doing some of my research and some of my process plays. I want to show you how I get to some of the process and not just the voices I respect and how I kind of mold my thinking throughout the week, but then how my thinking can change based on what these guys say and then how to stay open-minded but intelligent at the same time. Because here's what I think happens sometimes is we have this idea. You could say, I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then your friend calls you and is like, hey, I'm going to lunch. Would you like to come? And then you're like, well, yeah, it would be nice to see X, Y, Z or do this with, and then you end up changing your whole entire day. So what I wanted to do was kind of flesh out some ideas, some concepts on some builds, some philosophies, get these guys' opinions and see if it kind of molds with what they're already thinking and how that kind of can change your mindset without changing your philosophy, if that makes sense. So what I want to do is just play these videos and get everyone's instant reaction. Just to verify, Donnie, Evan, Gov, you guys haven't seen these clips. You have no idea what I'm about to play.
Right.
I may have seen the clips, but I don't know what clips you're about to play.
Right. So that, because I do know me and Gov do run in the same circle, so I do think that adds some uniqueness because you might have seen some of the same digestible content I have, but you might have taken a whole different meaning from it. So, and what I've really been trying to do in terms of my process is glean or gain an appreciation from hearing different perspectives from totally different arenas. And I'll explain that in a minute. But I have a comedian's take on DFS or how I correlate it back to DFS this week. And I think it's really interesting and fascinating. So I just want to get right to it. So without further ado, here we go.
Better ones don't separate.
Well, let me get the volume all set. Let's pull it back.
As the better ones don't separate that much from the lesser ones. And so that's something that I'm aware of this week. I also this is a week where my running back pool is going to be relatively small. But then there's opportunity for my quarterback pool to be a little bit broader as a result of that. And, one of the things that I always want to do is I want to think about where am I making some concentrated bets and build upside shots around that, right? So a couple of weeks ago, we talked that I was fortunate that everybody hit, but my 6 highest owned wide receivers in week 3 were 6 of the highest producing wide receivers on the site. They were all guys who went for 28 plus points. And at different price points, right? Tank Dell down at the bottom plays as the better.
So that was from the block party. That was Jam to Win talking to Pete Overs on their podcast about this week. And the first part got cut off a bit, but they were talking about quarterback selection and then how you correlate running backs around that. Any thoughts there, Gov? As you might have seen that clip per se.
I was about to say that. Not off the top. Yes, I have thoughts on that, but I've seen the whole clip, so I have more thoughts when we get to our lineup build.
Right, and of course they were gracious enough to let me use the clip, but I didn't want to steal the whole thing. If you guys, this is one of my favorite process kind of shows. Is they do give out some plays, they build a lineup, but it's more about fishing and trying to find the right process plays and how they correlate with the rest of your lineup. So I do have some other clips on these guys, but any thoughts on Evan or Donnie on this?
I don't really put much stock on how I correlate my running back with the quarterback and wide receivers that I play. I'm just going to look for the best value and the best matchup regardless of that. I don't really put a lot of thought into that. Maybe that's something I can learn.
And see, but that's why I wanted to do it and almost an unfiltered, if this takes 5 minutes, if this is just a stupid idea, I'm okay with it. What I wanted to do is kind of that indoor plumbing kind of philosophy, Evan, where I don't give you a whole lot of structure. I don't give you a whole lot of idea. and I get you that true reaction to it, because like what you find valuable from this slate might not be what I find valuable, and that's okay too. And I think like as we start to build, like that speaks to why I appreciate what we do and why we do it. And I want to play a clip on exactly what I think and why I think that the four of us work so well when we build lineups. I want to skip ahead and get to that clip, and I think it will make a lot of sense why I think the four of us build so well together. And I think this clip I found this week articulates that so well. So let me get right to that. This is a comedian talking about sports and then how he correlates that to improv and comedy. So here we go with this.
To you, and I wonder if it resonates, is that improv has qualities that remind me of sports in ways that nothing else in comedy does.
I think that's exactly correct. And the way that I pick my teams when I go out is exactly that. I'm looking for a point guard. I'm looking for a power forward. I'm looking for, so like if I bring different people, I know they have different skill sets. So it's like, and I know where I can fit and how I can adjust my skills to better help the team. In improv, I'm always trying to make the person opposite me look better. That's like my goal. And like, so if I can make Drew Tarver look better, or like, you know, Mary Holland, anything, but I also know what these people are really, really good at. And I was like, oh, if I mix this little, you know, like if I use this person, we're going to get a totally different show than if I get three people who are really heavy on characters, who love coming out as crazy characters. So I got to make sure that I play with my teams correctly, I think.
Yeah, well, look, there's legitimately unscripted, completely unscripted live action. There is this team dynamic that you just described to you, and I wonder if it resonates.
So, Evan, does that make more sense now? Because I do think like what you said before correlates perfectly with this clip. It's like you didn't have to necessarily take anything from that first clip. It's what we do as a collective, as a unit on this that builds a better process.
Yeah, I'll be honest too. I don't fully understand what they were talking about in this clip, but I did have another thought to add to the whole correlating running backs with quarterbacks and wide receivers angle, in which I feel like that's the result of what happens when the NFL in 2023 is a pass-heavy league, in which we start looking at running backs in all fantasy formats, and we start going, oh, these options don't look as sexy anymore. But then you see like 4 different running backs go off for 25 points in 1 week, and then you feel like an idiot not predicting this from any of them. So I think it's a matter of just going with the best talent you can find for what you can afford in DFS lineups, and just go from there.
Yeah, well, Johnny, what I found valuable about this clip per se is like me and you could argue, or maybe you even have a better 3K wide receiver this week, because there's a lot of 3K wide receivers. But it's not just, hey, who to play in a vacuum, Wandale Robinson or Mike Wilson. It's how does that make sense with what we were trying to build? How does that fit the team? If Donnie wants to play Wilson, you know, do we bring that back with Chase? Does that make sense with the lineup? Does that make sense with what we are trying to build? It's not just trying to get the most talented guys, because obviously we could do that, but it would end up being more of a cash game.
Right.
And I thought this clip did a really good job at articulating that.
Here's my thing about running backs. I don't care how my running backs correlate, kind of on that same opinion with Evan. I'd rather correlate it more with defense. Like, there's a very few amount of running backs I feel like this year that can genuinely hit that 35-ish that threshold. And if, you know, the lower end guys do, some of it's opportunity based, but a lot of it's luck. You know, like Montgomery having 3 touchdowns, like luckily that wasn't on the main slate, but he wouldn't have been highly owned.
And honestly, that's why I pulled some of these clips, just so we can get a different voice. And so, like, even so you guys can push back and be like, these clips make no sense, but it almost opens the door for another discussion that I might not have seen. And I think you brought up a good point there, Donnie. I didn't even think about talking about, but it makes sense. When you say you don't think about correlating it, it's because it rarely happens, or you just don't think it's very viable, or is it luck-based? Or because, like, I would tell you Kamara, for example, is a better receiver than a running back, and like you should almost view that as a PPR asset. But you're saying like you just never play guys like that, or is he
I
the
mean,
outlier? Like what are you saying there?
just because I play Christian McCaffrey, I'm not thinking, oh, I gotta play Brock Purdy. Like Christian McCaffrey's gonna be Christian McCaffrey. Most of these running backs are making their fantasy points on the ground, and the receiving option is a bonus on top of that. I don't care about if he
Right.
brings his quarterback with him.
Right. And Gov, I think the greater point of this clip was to say, like, let's say me and you, we do a Sunday morning, like a basketball rec center game, and I know you, Evan, and Donnie are the best shooters. I might not take the three of you because I need a rebounder. I need a guy that has a bit more tenacity that can play a bit of defense. So even though I know you guys are the best shooters, you're not fitting exactly what I need in a team. And so, like, sometimes we can know a good play, but he just doesn't fit with what we needed from the team.
That's kind of a hard analogy to make, though, or comparison to make, because fantasy football, I'm just going for the most likely to put up points. I'm not thinking about other numbers. I just want the points, regardless of how you get there.
See, and I am on that next level where it's like, not only am I thinking about can this guy put up points, but it's like, for his salary, can he put up the points that he needs? And is anyone else in his salary range or in the games around him also capable of putting up those points? And who's actually more viable in my mind?
Right. I'm with you, Gov. I find it fascinating that we can watch the same clips, and it's almost like a healthy, disgusting, like, I don't see it that, like, Evan's like, Logan, I'm sorry, I don't see it at all like you do. But I value your perspective, and that's what I think the four of us do is we build kind of like, we all want to make money. We all want to wake up tomorrow and have our lineups do well and even help the people that do the show and bring something big. But the way we get there is so different. And I think like it challenges all of us. And I do think that adds something to the sweat. Like come, 2:00 in the afternoon, we're going to have our like, pillars, if you will, or like our stands. And then like, I tried to tell Logan he was wrong here, and he played that stupid clip, or hey, it worked. I don't know how he got there, but he made this weird analogy before the show, but it worked, So those things do happen. I want to play a few more of these clips, and then we'll get on to our spread picks, because I do think some of these get a little bit deeper, but they're interesting. Let me play one more from Jam, who's talking about fantasy directly. Here we go.
That one play that changes the entire game is down to one player who makes one small mistake, right? And if that player didn't make that mistake on that play, then that play goes a totally different way. And then the game as a whole goes a totally different way. And this is why teams like the Patriots, or not so much this year, but the Patriots, the Titans, teams where you look at the roster and you're like, this team can't win games, and then they find ways to win games because they're just really well coached and really disciplined, and they don't make those small mistakes on any plays. So when they play the teams that do make the small mistakes, they're always able to find that little edge, right? And so that idea of the NFL is one of the perfect examples of chaos theory, in that the massive number of things that go into trying to predict what will happen makes it so impossible for us to like pull all of the cause and effect in and actually predict ourselves. So like Sims doing, like, projections have been great for years, and Sims doing even better job of that. And yet that's that one play that changed.
Go. Let's start with you, because I do think like me and you probably understand that on the deepest level. What did you glean from that? And then we'll get the more novice new age approach.
I mean, I loved his chaos theory. Like, that's chaos theory right there, put
Right.
onto DFS and onto football. And like, he's exactly right. And that's why, like, pointing out like Tennessee and how New England has been, like, they are the teams that like don't make those tiny mistakes, at least usually defensively. And like, yeah, like I agree with that.
But,
I wish we could have gotten the next like 30 seconds of that clip. Honestly, that's where he actually makes a point. He's just sort of rambling about chaos theory the 2 minutes before this.
Yeah. And I had to be very selective because I don't want to give away the whole product. By the way, this stuff in 1 week is free, by the way. He's talking to his nephew who started playing DFS like a year and a half ago. So very similar to Donnie, hadn't really played, kind of had admiration for sports, kind of fell in love with just like hanging out with us. And that's how his nephew, Keegan, as you see on the right there, started playing. And JM's been playing for years. So you kind of get like a very unique show with this build here. But I do think that adds kind of interesting theory because it's like these teams could be good, but they might be so efficient, Gov, that like you don't get the circus that you don't get the Denver, Chicago Bears points outcome because their defenses are more efficient, or they're just so good at football that you don't get the fantasy points. So there is a difference between fantasy and reality. Donnie, Evan, anything to add there?
I'll let you go first, Donnie, if you have anything.
I don't.
Okay. I will say that yes, coaching does matter. Where Belichick is still going to coach defense great, and Mike Vrabel is still going to be a damn good coach for a team that doesn't have a lot of talent in Nashville. But at the same time, it's the talent that still has to prevail. Because look at my Chicago Bears. They embarrassed the Washington Commanders with one of the arguably worst coaches in the league. Actually, I might go as far as to say that Eberflus is worse than Josh McDaniel at this point. And they still got the offense together, and the defense stepped up. Like Andrew Billings on that front line had a great game. Mm-hmm. So coaching matters, but talent still has to overcome the matchup that they're given.
We can move out of here. We'll save the other clip for another day. But I did think like these clips, these kind of, even if it made us uncomfortable, just to think outside the box before you go with some of your priors, I think is a good kind of way to reset. And I like one thing I'll say really quickly is Jan has a really unique setup to his thoughts a lot, and you guys might see it as I'll bring this back and do some more of this. But his thing is always like every build up until Sunday is you should actually consider it a practice build. So every like lineup that you built to this point is actually just practice. You might like it. It might be exactly the lineup that you put on Sunday, but we're not actually submitting that lineup until 1:00 tomorrow morning. So whether you don't want to tinker with it anymore, whether you want your tinker to be at 11:00 and that's it, or you're waiting for inactives, like whatever your process is, stick with that and like own that, like take an honor in that, but also understand like everything else is just practice. And so like, even if it is something ugly, or maybe you're like, oh, I don't even know why we're doing this. Like maybe I'll pull it up and discuss that, Donnie, just for the sake of it. But like we can build a Zach Wilson game stack, Donnie, and like you might think it's the most disgusting thing ever, but you might glean something from it, and that's kind of like chaos theory too. It's like taking something that you think is a total disaster, and maybe you see the one little bit of rainbow, out of that. I do think there is something valuable there, but we can get on to our spread picks. I don't want to take any more time. We do want to save as much time as we can for the pillar and the lineups. So go ahead, Donnie, and refresh the people, and I'll pull up DraftKings, and we'll get the spread picks available, and we can make our picks. I know you like to do. What are we picking? A random number generator?
And what's the capacity this time?
Yeah, let us know.
Did we lose Donnie?
He might have. It might be his bedtime.
Oh, I was muted. Sorry. Yep. So we're gonna do a random number generator from 1 to 169.
Oh.
You're welcome, Evan.
27.
Price is right. I'm gonna go 68.
All right, I'll go 102.
69, dudes.
It's 160, baby. All right, so that would be me, then Evan, Logan, and Go.
Go last, right?
Okay.
All right, So, who wants to break the group spread pick? Because I don't have the exact number for me.
I have the exact number.
I'll have it up just in a second. I just want to make sure that my password doesn't display on the screen, just for security reasons. I think you're gonna understand that, but I'll have it up on the screen in just 1 second.
In the meantime, let's just sit and listen to dead air for the next few seconds.
Hey,
That is what our spread pick is.
Dub.
Our spread pick is minus 12.5. What do you think the Giants are going to be doing for 3 hours? A lot of dead air. A lot of dead air.
How fitting.
Well, it does.
See, we can't even get it out right. This game's just, oh God.
Yeah, Dolphins minus 12.5. I don't think anyone needs a real explanation on that.
Yeah, there is no
a little bit big. I don't love any of the spreads this week, really. I'm kind of choking some picks down, for sure.
Yep.
All I'll say is that if you've watched New York Giant football, you should know by now.
Listen, I have a history of the Giants breaking my heart, so
Are you saying you cared about the Giants at one point?
No, I'm saying they broke my heart on Patriots Super Bowl twice.
But those days are long gone, man.
Yeah, these aren't those Giants. You weren't defeated by the Giants. You were defeated by the ghost of the Manning brothers.
And besides, Donnie, when you were still in diapers, I don't know if it counts. Which, trust me, it's not a shot at you. It's more a shot at my age, man. The fact that I still remember who Mario Manningham is tells you I'm an old man.
Oh, Plaxico Burress is the shit, dude.
No, talk Burress.
He's the other gunshot wound. He was gunshot wound before gunshot wound.
Yeah, he was the gunshot wound that we don't cheer for as comeback player of the year, like Robinson was.
Hey, but that was self-inflicted. That's the difference.
I'm glad
Hey, Plaxico shot himself.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He did shoot himself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Robinson was shot in the leg. You know?
Yeah, that was not self-inflicted. That was just bullshit. But so anyway, Donnie, you're first, right?
Yeah, I am first, and I am gonna. I think.
Pass.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Texans at +2. They've impressed me all year round. I don't think the Falcons are very good at all. I think Ritter's absolute garbage. Texans are an overall better team, better quarterback. There's more talent, I think, on the Falcons. Honestly, just they don't use any of their good talent right. I hope to see the Falcons actually use Kyle Pitts for once. If Kyle Pitts has 100 yards, I'm happy that this lost. That's all I'm going to say.
And let's remember, the Texans killed the Steelers. Killed. And that's a good defense.
No, the Falcons have, I don't know, Falcons have a lot of talent on that defense.
Jesse Bates, and that's about it.
They have Campbell, old man, sitting over there.
Well, maybe.
Terrell. And they got some players.
Do they still have Grady Jarrett?
I believe they do.
Yes, I do believe
The point is, the point is, I think they're actually pretty talented, and the fact that they don't win games is so disgusting. That coach needs to be fired immediately.
Arthur, I had a goddamn plan.
By the way, I had heard, I hope this isn't true, but I had heard that Arthur Smith said that he believes that Kyle Pitts is almost 100% healthy this week, coming off of a hip injury. Like, the fact that that came out. What's that, Donnie?
Who cares? You're not going to use him in your scheme anyway.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, okay, so I know he was hurt, like, initially. Like, there had been some rumors that maybe he got banged up in, like, training camp, and, like, they were kind of bringing him along slowly. And then, like, they kind of ramped him up and acted like he was all right. And then, like, no one really knew what was going on. He kind of just figured that was the offense. And that now he's like, oh, don't worry, he's almost 100% healthy. It's like, well, our concern is why aren't you using him? You know, it would be like if we went and built a lineup and then we purposely like left $2,000 off our lineups every week and was like, well, you know, guys, we would have won, but we left $2,000 on the table. It's like, well,
going into week 5, there should be 2 players that are 100% healthy: JMO and Jonathan Taylor. That's it.
right. And
Those
even
are the
then,
ones-
you could argue like, okay, maybe they're not. You know, there was a reason they were inactive. You know, so like, I don't know. I just find it interesting. So that's my tidbit from your game. That's the only thing I thought was a bit odd. I do like the Falcons though. I think I don't know. That division's a weird division, but I don't think the Falcons are completely dead. I think they are going to show a little bit of life this season. It's Evan's pick next, right?
Yeah, Devin's pick.
All right, then I will grab the Lions at -9.5, at -9.5. I'm sure Gov can elaborate why they're probably not, why the Panthers are not beating the Lions in this one, but I think the Panthers have absolutely no chance. And when I hear the Panthers head coach describing Bryce Young as like a point guard, I'm kind of completely out on the Panthers for the rest of the season anyway. Whereas that's pretty much I just hate that comparison so much. It just irritated me for no good reason. But Lions, even though they're not going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown into this one, and they have a questionable Josh Reynolds. I think it's going to be the Sam Laporta show.
Yeah.
And then Jamison Williams coming back. If he does more than act like a gunner on special teams, awesome. But even then, I think they're going to have no problem having David Montgomery run all over them. So I think the 9.5 is perfect, if not greater for this one.
I gotta speak on that though, because like that's kind of what this show does. We take an idea that maybe it's not getting enough attention. Why do people in sports do that? Why do we like? I understand correlation. Trust me, we're gonna build stacks. We're gonna do things that make sense. You know, like David Montgomery with the Lions defense, stuff like that. We're gonna do it in our lineup build in just a few minutes. But why did coaches like try to force in weird sports comparisons? That just, like, I know, for example, the Minnesota Timberwolves like were saying that Edwards, for example, could be a running back in the NFL. Like, what does that prove? What does that mean? Is it just words that we say? Like, why do we do that? Does that make any sense to anyone?
No.
No. I would hope that my quarterback has good vision for passing. That's not a cop for a quarterback.
Like, seriously, Gov, I mean, I don't mean to hijack this whole segment, but like, you know, like a couple weeks ago, we talked about is DFS dead? And then like, is there any edge? And then like, are we worried that like people are becoming too smart in like the betting circles? But then I see the mainstream media and what they spend their time on, whether it's Travis Kelce and like Taylor Swift and like all these weird, it's like, oh, wait a minute. There's still a huge composite of just casual sports fans that gobble this stuff up as like Reader's Digest and act like it's important information. Like, as much as I love Terry Bradshaw, for example, he's still on the NFL giving out his takes. So that should be, I mean, I don't get it. Good pick, Evan. I mean, the only argument you could say is maybe the Panthers have more of a chance given that the Lions have so much talent that's apparently going to sit and try to get rested, including Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs. But then we have like Jamison Williams coming back, and like maybe a rookie like Green gets more of a chance. So like even the guys that you might think like, oh, that's a downgrade for the Lions, getting Jamison might be an upgrade. So like I don't see much chance for the Panthers, but maybe this is a shocker game that's going to be fun for DFS. That's the cool thing is I still think there's DFS value to be had.
I should correct myself, too. It was actually Panthers owner David Tepper who said Bryce Young is like a point guard back in April, not the coach.
Well,
who's the coach for the Panthers?
Frank Reich.
That's right. It was Frank Reich. He wouldn't say anything that stupid. He's a better coach than that.
Yeah.
just slightly better than Matt Rule.
By a lot, I hope.
That's so insulting. Matt Rule is disgustingly bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
I am sitting here not disagreeing with anyone.
He finally got it. He finally got a Division I win in college. So finally, he looks so relieved. It's mine now for this bet, right?
Yes.
Yep.
What do I want? I think I know what I like. Now it's a bit of structure because it's like, do I take the pick that I love that I think could get stolen? Yeah, I think I am. I want the Rams over the Eagles.
Son of a bitch.
I think I think the Rams beat the Eagles without Cooper Kupp. I think that offense now might be one of the more explosive offenses. I've always thought so with Williams. I was telling Donnie in week 1 not to play Cam Akers because I thought they were going to go to Williams pretty soon. I was higher on Puka, as you can tell from our best ball. And now people say that Cooper Kupp could be limited. But just a few weeks ago, when the pressure was off the coach and nobody was asking about Cooper Kupp, going into the season, Sean McVay was asked, when we'll see Cooper Kupp. And I'm choosing to put value in this. He said you won't see Cooper Kupp until Cooper Kupp is 100% ready to play. Now, of course, with the media attention and like game theory involved, he's of course not going to give you his true opinion. He says, well, there's theory, there's there's gamemanship. Of course, we're going to see how it goes. I tend to agree with his first statement that if Cooper Kupp wasn't ready, they wouldn't force him to play in this game. I think we're going to see close to 100% Cooper Kupp. I think it opens up the whole rest of the offense. I think you could see, Higbee, who looks healthier, could have a better week. It could open up a guy like Van Jefferson. It obviously puts, Tutu Atwell back in the slot. In his role, he wanted to play so much outside. I just think this is a healthy addition to the offense.
Logan, I was just about to fight you on when you said that you thought the Rams could beat the Eagles even without Cooper Kupp, but then I remembered the Eagles have been winning ugly all season long lately, and they had to go to overtime with the fucking Commanders, a team that lost by 20 fucking points and gave up 40 to my Chicago Bears. Bears haven't scored 40 in 3 years, and that's how bad the Commanders did, and yet they put up a fight against the Eagles. So I think I have to go with you on this one. I think the Rams are going to surprise them.
And the Patriots made them struggle like really bad too. And the Patriots have looked like not great, not bad, but great.
Not great, Bob. Yeah.
And I don't mind talking about games if I have a lean, but I think I pretty much said everything I need to say. If you guys have anything to add, we can do that. If not, we can go on to our second pick.
Let's go on to the second pick, maybe.
No, I still have to make my first pick.
Oh yeah, Gov. Come on, Gov.
Yeah, Gov. Didn't Logan take your pick?
Yeah, he stole the one I wanted. Yeah, I was going to take the Rams if he didn't. Yeah. So, by law of mathematics, I should just take the opposite end of our spread pick with how well it's been doing this year.
I thought about it.
So maybe my first pick is taking Giants plus no. Actually, and this is what's going to kill you. I am going against one of you guys right now. Because I'm going to take the points at what I see is 9 or 9.5. I'm taking Carolina's points. Detroit is down multiple weapons, and they tend to just sort of play and beat your team. They're not a team that tends to blow people out. And Carolina's defense is still not you can run on it, but it's not horrible. It's getting worse with injuries, but it's not horrible. I think this game stays closer than 9 points or whatever we have.
It's 9.5.
Yeah, 9.5. I'll take the 9.5 on the other end.
It's our first head-to-head.
All right.
I don't think that's bad, Gov. I will say, I'm kind of with you in that theory that everyone knows Dan Campbell to go for it on fourth downs to be aggressive. He does that when he feels like he's the underdog. When he was playing the Falcons, he punted, I think, on every fourth down. He trusted that defense. Now, he went for it a ton on fourth down against the Kansas City Chiefs. I do think the Lions will win pretty easily, just because I do like some of the secondary options that you guys haven't seen yet. I'm still high in Jameson Williams. I'm a lot higher on David Montgomery. I think the success in our run game speaks more to how good David Montgomery is, more than it does about the lack of development of Gibbs. I know a lot of people say, well, Gibbs isn't ready. Why would you, but that was a long-term play. I think the fact that Montgomery is playing over him isn't so much a slight on the Lions. It's actually an encouragement thing. And it's actually a good thing that we can set a rookie down and bring him along slowly, just like you would a quarterback, if you didn't feel like, it was needed. So I see that as a good thing, but I could see why some people think like, oh, well, the Lions are obviously a lot more at a deficit than they are. So I understand the pick, even though I think the Lions will cover easy.
I have a question for Gov with this one. So far this season in 4 games, the Carolina Panthers have put up a total of 67 points across those 4 games. Who's going to score on the Lions? Adam Thielen?
Thielen could easily score. I could see DJ Shark having a revenge score. I will tell you right now, it's all veterans rest, and they just have to put an injury. Sanders is fine. So, we will be able to run the ball with checkdowns as effectively as we can. At some point, our offense will start to get a little better. It's a young quarterback. He's getting his stuff. Yeah. But, I do think, and again, I think 9 points is plenty. 9 points mean we lose 23-30 if it's high scoring. Or more likely, we lose 24-13. And it's like a push.
I will say an underrated thing.
21-13 more likely.
Yeah.
Demont gets his 3 touchdowns. You control the game. But I eventually get a touchdown and a couple field goals. That sounds like a plausible game environment for me in that game. I'll follow my metrics, and I it's close. That's kind of a 50-50 game, but I'll take my Panthers. I will go homer pick, and I will go against you on that one.
All right. Are we snaking this?
I was about to say, are we snaking this? Do I make a second one?
I think so. Go ahead, go.
Okay.
With you.
All right. Well, then we are just gonna go with let's see, what's a good one? You know what? I'll just take the other one I threw out. I think the Niners cover -3.5. I believe I have it at. Cowboys are the fucking Cowboys. They're gonna cowboy it on Sunday Night Football. Purdy's Pizza Delivery gonna be slinging it all over.
Maybe Tony Pollard will take a center snap,
Now, maybe this is me wanting to happen, but I honestly want this on the record. And if I'm wrong, at least it's the jolly old good, it's a good kind of I'm wrong. I think this is the highest point total we will see so far this year. I do think this will be the highest points we see. I
don't even know if it's going to be a high scoring game.
Oh, I think so, Donnie. I think both defenses have been severely overrated in terms of
Dallas. Definitely, I don't know about
Dallas.
San Fran
could not been overrated. They're just good defense.
No, I'm saying they're good teams, but I think what has happened is we've underappreciated their offenses while pumping up their defenses to a level that's good. But I think everyone thinks they're elite. I wouldn't say their defenses are elite. Their defenses are good. Their offenses are a lot better than what they've had to show. I don't think anyone's had to push them.
I'm telling you, with this Niners team, they have a very good defense, a very good defense. But part of that is also the fact that the Niners don't have to give up the football. They're going to dink and dunk you to death. They're going to run you to death, and the defense won't have to be on the field. Therefore, the defense is going to be good.
I could honestly see 60 points. I think this would be a fun, just a sit back, have a beer, enjoy the end of your night kind of
point total of 90 already this year. 70-20, but
so that begs the question. So we know that the Niners are just going to dink and dunk to Christian McCaffrey because nobody can stop him in this league. But how are the Cowboys going to attack the Niners?
They're not. I don't think it's going to be a good game.
However they want.
the way you
No,
would
I don't
attack
think
the
going back.
Niners, the way you attack the
At their
Niners
corner?
is over the middle of the field. So, like, I could see it if they do it. It's probably through Lamb or Ferguson.
I was thinking
Well,
Ferguson
here's the
too.
thing.
Slot Lamb through the middle of the field could work. Like,
See,
you gotta try to get
It
quick
has to be
passes
deep
over the middle.
because you can't get Fred Warner's right there. You like it's not like they have a bad backer there that's not gonna be. He's gonna be jumping on things.
I mean, a
Yes,
good
but
slant
this-
route though.
I was about to say this all comes from like San Fran's defense kills what it's kind of New Englandy. It sets out to kill what you do best. So this is coming from the thought that Dallas needs to come out and try to run the ball, knowing that CD should be open over the middle of the field on the back end because Warner will be stopping the run on Pollard. But if you can't run the ball, then this is where Dallas could just totally fail. And I kind of have a thought
I'm not
on
a fan
that,
of Pollard.
which is why I'll take San Fran minus the points.
I don't think Pollard's as good as he's said to be. I'm not a huge fan of him.
Right. So, like, I don't think they'll be able to run the ball, which means they won't really have open spots over the field open. Dak will struggle most of the game. It'll look kind of like, but we've seen this game. Like, we played in the playoffs when they really want to play each other. This is a Sunday night game. They should both come to play.
And see, Donnie, that's why I love like what we do here. It's because like we don't have to agree all the time. Like the way I view our sports like appreciation is me and you both have a library card, and we're just reading this game different. We picked up the same book, and we're just reading the interpretation of this story differently. It's not that one of us is like right or wrong, and I have to convince you. No, the author meant to say this when he wrote this page. Like I have no interest in that. I can say, oh yeah, when Donnie read this passage, he took this because he took this information to mean this. But I just see it different. I think both teams are going to score a lot of points. I think even the defenses could score points. I just think this is a crazy good offensive game, and I think it'll be enjoyable to watch.
I feel like you're undervaluing. Like, we already know the Dallas Cowboy defense is good. Now, right now, it looks extremely great. But the Dallas defense is going to finish top 5, probably. The Niners defense is going to finish top 5, probably. Like, I do think you're selling it.
But
And we saw what happened to Pollard against the Patriots. I could see that easily happening with the Niners, and we could just get less field time in exchange for like Deuce Vaughn coming out and doing utility crap, right?
I guess that's the greater point is that like when I think of two great defenses, I don't always think that means like it's a slog game. It could just be like both defenses could get pick sixes. There could still be a lot of points. There could be short fields. There could still be a lot of points, even if it is technically a good defensive game. Like I think there's a lot of ways to get knockouts. It's not just the highlight knockout. You can get a technical knockout too.
All right, we spent too much time on the Niners, I think. Let's bring it back to you, Logan.
Yeah, I won't take that much time here because I just think there's some obvious things to do here in the late games. One game that I don't understand how. I just don't see how it could even be this close. I want Kansas City, and I want they're going to win by more than a touchdown, but I'll take the -3.5. I don't think the Vikings are very good. I think the Vikings are the worst team in the league. I'll keep saying it until I'm proven wrong, but I think it's a fun game offensively for Justin Jefferson in a fantasy carnival, but I don't think the Vikings defense is even on a professional level. I think Patrick Mahomes does anything he wants to the Chiefs, and it's even worse than what he did to the Bears a couple weeks ago. I don't think this game's competitive.
You took my pick, Logan.
Yeah, I might be reading it wrong. I don't think this game's competitive. That's about the worst thing I can say, but in the most simplest way I can say it. I just don't see how the Vikings can compete.
I will not agree on the fact that the Vikings are the worst team in the league because they have an offense that works. It's their defense that's trash. But on the other hand, the Chiefs also have Matt Nagy calling the offensive plays, who was a big factor in blowing it in week 1 against your Lions, Logan. So
Oh my!
I think the Chiefs have a potential of keeping this game closer than people expect, because I think they could potentially play down to the Vikings. But I think it's safe to say the -3.5 is good enough against a really bad Viking defense.
I just cannot stand the Matt Nagy. I get you're a Bears fan, but the Chiefs called good enough plays offensively easily to win that game. It was not a bad offensively coached game at all.
I
The
will
receivers
disagree
were
with you on
open.
that.
The receivers were wide open all game long. They just dropped everything. When you have 20 drops as a team, I mean, you're not going to win.
But the play calling was very, very similar to what I saw with my Chicago Bears, in which it was just all the same unoriginal routes that work for the Chiefs because they have the talent with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid leading the way. But at the same time, I don't think that was enough to fool the Lions defense.
Then why were people open all the time? On 3rd and 20, and Mahomes got a beautiful pass that was just right through the hands of a receiver.
Guys get open sometimes. I mean, that's football. It happens.
But the point is, like, that you can't blame the coach for losing that game when it was clearly the receivers. It was every receiver who was on that field.
Donnie, it's a combination. It's a combination. Me and Gov could tell you the best plays. We could tell you Wandale Robinson 3K, that Mike Wilson's 3.3, but you still got to plug them into a lineup and make sense. Part of getting open is part of a wide receiver's job. The other part is catching the ball. So, like, as much as you can say, while they were open, they should catch the ball. Well, there's still a mechanical, sensation of getting open.
That's not the coach's fault.
And that wasn't the whole game either, guys just dropping passes. There were plenty of 3-and-outs that the Lions defense just got stops.
If I'm the coach and I put you out there and you keep making the same mistake, at some point it is my fault.
Sure.
They tried different receivers, though. It was just none of them worked.
I don't care.
Rasheed Rice should have been out there way more.
Honestly, I don't care if you're coaching high school, or Pee Wee. Like, at some point, if your players aren't performing, you gotta be willing to bench them.
I think that's Andy Reid's job, not Matt Nagy's.
Maybe.
Personally.
So
whose pick is it next? We don't want to waste time. Speaking of time, we got things to do here.
Yeah.
As well.
So it was my pick. I was gonna. I wanted to fight you to take that pick, but I can just choose another one. I guess it's not that big of a deal. But I'm going to take the early game, bright and early tomorrow morning in America time, and I'm going to take the Bills over the Jaguars at 5.5. Because I am not at all impressed with this Jaguar team. I think they were overrated to begin this season. I don't think they're a bad team per se, but I just think they're no match for this Buffalo Bills. I mean, they're the second best defense according to points allowed, and this Jacksonville Jaguar offense is just not that impressive. They've only put up 80 points across the first 4 games. That's in the bottom half of the league. They're only 4 points better than the awful Cleveland Browns. So I don't see why the Bills can't win this game, even though they're going to be less rested with the jet lag compared to the Jaguars, who have been there for a week now. Well, longer than that.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to argue with it too much on that take. And then the only thing I would say is the Bills, you can make the same argument with the Jags. Like, we expected a lot from them. We haven't got it. We expected a lot from the Bills. Are the Bills right? Like, I think this is a put up or shut up game for both of these teams, to be quite frank.
Oh, I'll agree with that for sure. And I'm a lot more confident with the Bills because their wins have not necessarily all been ugly like the Eagles.
Fair point. Like I said, I think this is the perfect game for both teams for basically the same reason. It's almost like they both got dumped on prom night, and now we'll see who reacts best after the breakup. But I think they're going through a lot of the same offensive and defensive expectations, and we'll see which one comes out on the other side.
Yeah. See, I'm still high on this Jags team. I think they'll fix it, but I don't want to get too much into the Jags because they've been rather disappointing, and I can't defend it if I ever see it.
Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Like, I think you could make, like, that's what I'm saying. I think you could say the same thing about the Bills. You expected a lot. They've shown you flashes, but they haven't put it all together yet. I think
They're
that's
actually
what makes
on
this.
flashes.
Go
Let's
ahead.
be honest. I don't think the Jags have even shown flashes. I don't know why I still believe in them, but I do.
I
But
think they flashed. It's just we expected them to be brighter.
well, ETN's been, I don't want to say dreadful, but he needs to produce more for what
Yeah.
the attention he's getting in that offense. He's not produced enough. I don't know if that means you should sub him more for a guy like Tank.
Hmm.
Maybe that's the solution. I don't really know. I just need to see more from the young guy in the backfield, and it's not Trevor Lawrence.
And they really haven't played like great teams except for the Chiefs so far either, where they're playing the Colts, Texans, and Falcons, who, I mean, the Texans are, I mean, I guess definitely better than people expected, but they haven't really had huge competition aside from the Chiefs either. So I think they look better than on paper with their defense than they actually are.
Gov, sometimes we use our pillar lineups to build like these lineups, and sometimes we use our spread picks to kind of like flush out the games. But all in all, it's all a process, and I do think like these discussions are gonna like blend in and kind of like come back to a lineup build, and like having these discussions can easily transition us into the lineup build. Is there any thoughts that you're having over this week in terms of plays, players, like different games, like even as you give us your last pick here? Like anything you're gleaning from this conversation?
It's about to say it's going to be his last pick. After he gives his pick, I'll give you while you transition over. I'll give you a little thought. Yeah, just gleaming after doing some research.
My last pick is going to be Packers at +2. Jimmy G's just going to end a concussion protocol, so we'll see him for about 2 quarters next week. As Josh Jacobs could completely control this game, and Devontae Adams, he's still questionable, I believe. So if they both play, Jimmy G comes back, maybe it's fine. But I just don't think they're a very good team. They're not well coached. As for the Packers, they had a disappointing week. I think it was last week. They're probably going to bounce back, in my opinion. They're a good enough team.
The Packers are a talented team, but I'm not going to lie to you. I watched the clip, and they looked defeated after losing to the Lions. It didn't look right. And I will say I am going to play Devontae Adams in every showdown lineup. Just something tells me that he's taking this over personal on a level that most people don't take it personal. I could see the Raiders pulling the upset here. Evan, any thoughts?
I think that's going to be a pretty close game because the Raiders are ass, but the Packers are also ass as well. But they just happen to have above average coaching with offensive weapons that work, and they have like 2 good defensive players who occasionally they get stops, but they're just not good at stopping the run, and they're not that great at stopping the pass. Yeah, that was a game I did not want to touch because that's going to be close, and I have no idea who's winning that game.
Fair.
I mean, Vegas would agree.
Yeah.
At +2, -2, whichever way you want to say it.
You said would or wouldn't?
They would.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting crazy with my picks this week, and I probably shouldn't, considering I am not quite in last, but close enough.
We good?
Let's get off to a builder. Yep.
I think we are good. I'm going to transition now to the lineup builder. While I do so, tell the people if you guys have any pillars that you want to get out. Like, let's see if we can correlate some of these pillars. Any major ideas that kind of flood over to one another. Anything sticking out to you, Evan?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
In terms of a pillar, in terms of something that you definitely want to try to do tonight for a lineup.
Come back to me. I haven't decided yet.
Donnie, you got anything?
To be honest,
it's okay if you don't. Like that could be fun as well.
I kind of just wanted to go back to where we all pick a game and we try and jam in those games. and see what we come out with at the end.
So you mean like making
Pick
it so?
game atmosphere we like, and then we all pick a game atmosphere we like, and we try and make our teams based off those 4 games.
I see. So we condense the slate on purpose. That could be interesting because the slate's already condensed because of the bye week and because of some of the London losses. So we
It puts us on 3 games. We're from 4 games. We go have 4 games instead of 7, right?
Yep. Well, I had a good college exposure this week, so like we have a little bit of extra money to play with. We could build an extra lineup if we wanted to tonight. Let's definitely try to do that. Gov, any lineup builds that you definitely want to try to get in? Any philosophies, something that's going underlooked that you want to make sure you highlight tonight?
Well, mostly like I honestly think like just looking at ownership and everything, I really am starting to like I don't like that Cincinnati Arizona game at all. And yet it's pulling more, it just keeps pulling more ownership. It's like in beginning of the week, I was all in on playing Dobbs and stuff like that. But like I almost want to full fade that game.
I'm actually with
like
you.
Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm building Dobbs stacks. Friday, I don't want to play a single player from that game.
I'm weirdly kind of with you. I was really liking that game. You know, I was liking Chase. I was thinking like James Conner. Like,
and like it doesn't have a different total than hardly half the other games. They're like all 44, 45, other than the 3 big ones and the 2 shitty ones.
I mean, you see it like we talked about in the beginning. Like some of these practice builds I had some Cincinnati, you know, Arizona, and now I'm off of it. And I think like having that mindset of being like, oh, I like this on Monday. Now it's Friday. I don't got to like it now. You know, it's okay to change your priors. Evan, you had something?
I do, actually, and it kind of goes in line with what Gov was thinking. We can't pick any players from teams that are below 500 in the standings right now.
Okay, so here's the thing. I would recommend that we do those things. We can definitely do them in correlation, but because Donnie's is so restrictive, let's try to do Donnie's idea, and then let's try to merge Gov's and your ideas together in a separate lineup and like our secondary lineup if that's possible.
Sounds good.
Donnie, what since this is your idea, what game did you for sure want to highlight or even take away? Like, how do you want to look at it?
For sure, I want to have highlighted the Detroit Carolina game. That is for sure.
Meaning you want to have somebody from that game?
We all are gonna pick a game that we want to play.
Got you. Okay, I just want to be clear for the people, so if they want to participate with your theory here, they can do it. Gov, to go along with Donnie's theory, is there a game that you definitely want to highlight for this slate build?
The Rams and Philly.
Okay, so if I was to recommend this idea, I would say our first pick should come from one of these games for sure. And then if something needs to be filled based on something that makes sense in terms of salary, then we can do it. But let's try to take something from.
Well, I mean, that's only 2 games. Let's get 2 more games to fill in the pool.
Yeah, I agree. I want something from. Yeah, you took the 2 games out. I like. Let's see. I want something from. Yeah, I want something from the Jets and Denver Bronco game.
Okay.
Because there are some underrated games I like, but Denver's been a fantasy carnival. I know that it's the Jets, but I do want to see if there's no better way to test that theory than this week. If the Jets put up points against Denver, I think every week we should almost target Denver going forward. Evan, what's the one game that you for sure want to make sure we get a piece of?
I would like us to get a piece of that. Let's make sure we get in Giants Dolphins, because I think Dolphins pieces, while expensive, are still going to be juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Giants Dolphins. That's a 1 o'clock game. That'd be good.
Those are probably many of the pieces are probably going to be chalky in the first place, right?
Tyreek and A-Chain.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of like this because Donnie and Evan chose 1:00 games. Me and Gov chose the 4:00 PMR game. So I do think we'll get a good balance there. It's good. This could yield a good build. So no quarterback initially. Donnie, this was your idea, so we're gonna go with you last. We're gonna throw it up a little bit.
Yep.
Gov, I'm gonna give you the first pick.
Okay, we'll just go in reverse order from that. Okay, so God, this is so tough. Who is my favorite play from my game? Oh God, this is so tough too.
You don't have to play from your game. You can play from everyone's game.
Yeah, I know, but I want to play my favorite guy from my game, and I don't know who it is.
I know who it is.
Is it the 2% owned guy, or is it just like? Okay. You got Evan. Pick a number 1 to 6.
3.
Okay, we're putting Cooper Kupp in this lineup.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, go. I gotta know because I do think process is important. Why did you have Evan select? What was Evan choosing when he narrowed it down for you? Walk the people through.
Basically, one guy's ownership is an odd number, one guy's ownership is an even number.
Seriously though, there is some
So I could have said 1 to 10. I was just looking for an even or an odd, but honestly,
there is some cool oddity about that, like how we kind of break ties. I find all that stuff really.
If anything, Puka's ownership is 6%. That's why I said 1 to 6.
Yeah. I like Cooper Kupp because I do think he's 100%. We talked about that in the spread picks, and I told you that some of that content was going to transition over to a lineup there it already has.
I kind of wanted to play DeAndre Swift, though. Like, I was going to put DeAndre Swift in this lineup, but I think we just have to put in Kupp.
Evan,
have to.
Did you want to go or did you want me to go? We definitely want Donnie to go last. This is his idea. We want to make him suffer here a bit on this build.
Oh, good Lord.
So we were going to go in reverse order, which would mean you next, right, Logan?
I thought so. I want to make sure.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to do it because it saves so much salary. I know it's easy chalk, but it makes sense, and I think it will allow us to do some fun, interesting things.
Wandale.
Let me just get the obvious Wandale 3K flatman. I think he has a chance. He is the number one target. He's in a game that could score a lot of points, and he opens up a lot. So I'm trusting you guys to do the right thing around it, but I think we can get there.
All right, Evan, your turn.
All righty. Do I want to finish this off at wide receiver? I think I will. Give me Adam Thielen at 5,100 because I don't think the Panthers are going to have anybody else to throw to who's going to be Mr. Reliable. And I think at 5,100, that's a pretty fair price for who's probably going to be catching most of the passes from Bryce Young. So,
yep. Donnie, go ahead. You can give us 2 picks here. You can go snake if you want.
We can eat chalk too because we got a lot of low-owned plays. Other than Wandale. Wandale's like 16, 17%. But like we're getting probably a sub 10. Yeah, he's the chalk cheap guy to play.
He's a chalk, but I see people think he's a floor.
I agree with what our guy in the shed. Like it's floor chalk. Yes, he is a low A dot, so he's probably going to catch 6 balls because he'll get 6 or 7 thrown to him. Will he only get 30 yards on 6 catches? Maybe.
I know you think that, but I think he's more Steve Smith. I think he has like breakaway, could score a touchdown upside.
He might, but he has to show it. He has had the ability to because of his health, and that's a concern. But like, you may be right,
and that's why I'm
probably why he's chalk because he's like, if he gets that volume and produces, then he's uber great.
Because I actually agree with you.
But his floor is still probably a 3 to 4x at 3K.
Right. If you're playing him just because he's 3K, I think you're doing incorrectly. But I'm not. I'm playing him because I think he could score a touchdown.
Agreed. I agree with that. There's other cheap plays, cheap wide receivers. If you're playing him just to fit guys in, that's wrong. You should probably think about it. Think about your lineup a little differently.
100%. Donnie, go ahead.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put David Montgomery in there.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yep. Okay.
Correlate the eating of chalk.
Yep.
I figured that was the easiest way
So
to plug in.
it.
Can you show me the quarterbacks? I'm picking our quarterback.
Yep. See, I made you wait till last, but I knew you'd have this opportunity.
Stafford.
Stafford makes sense.
Nice.
Cooper Cup. Might as well put Stafford in there.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if we're going reverse though, it's Evan next, right?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, sorry.
You can break in, Donnie, by the way, if you have anything on Stafford or Montgomery, but I thought this was pretty obvious plays.
I think it's a pretty obvious play.
Miles Sanders for dual running backs. No, I'm just kidding. Let's not do that.
Dueling running backs. I have looked at that so much. No,
Ugh.
no, we're not doing that. No.
Yeah, no, I agree. Give me A-Chain.
Ooh, something I hate, but
Are you
makes
more
sense.
A-Chain, the chalky 20%er, or are you more Mostert at sub 10%?
I prefer to go with the younger, more explosive H-N guy. I realized I said his name wrong too.
Yvonne Dudley. I'm sorry, A-Chain. Oh, or I'm sorry, whatever.
Yeah. But I like H-N's chances better. I think they're just going to run the ball all over the Giants, and Mostert and H-N will definitely get fed well.
You know, I don't particularly like the play as like, do I think it could score a lot of points? No, but I will say I like the process of the play where it could score a home run. And that's kind of the Robinson play, which is funny because they're exactly the game that correlates, is everyone thinks one thing from Robinson, the ceiling. Everyone thinks the opposite with H. Like, as long as they both get there, no matter how they get there, you know, if one of them gets a touchdown, then it probably was a good play. So I don't mind it. Go, I
What's
think
your
it's your
pick
pick.
now, Logan?
Is it my pick?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys tell me. I'm being honest, so we can work through the process. Because like we can get cute sometimes and just like say weird and funny things to be, you know, to like really throw you guys off. Do you want me to save a tremendous amount of value, or do you want me to spend up here?
You do what you want.
Now I don't have to play anyone from the games, right? Because we already picked guys from the game.
No, let's try to build a lineup just from these four.
I was trying to build a lineup from just
okay.
four.
Well,
like I will commit to the defense doesn't have to be from these four games.
I think I'm gonna piss you guys off, but it's probably the happiest pissed off I think I'm gonna make you all week. We're gonna do it. Give me the highest upside guy, the guy that I want to cheer for, the guy that I want to rip the pants off for at 2:00 in the afternoon. And this allows me, if we find out he's inactive for some reason, I can make that switch myself. But give me Jameson Williams.
JMO is expected to play.
I know, but nobody else wants to play him. But like, this is the play that I want to make. If we're gonna spend,
and now we can't spend the salary. Like, even if we go Waller, there's not a 5K defense. We're going to be leaving like 1,500 on the table.
See, that's
like,
why
as much as I would say that, like, you either need to spend money or you need to plug in your tight end.
That's why I said we can change it after we're done building. But if we wanted to build this idea out and then change it afterwards, we can do that. That's kind of the idea. So let's just go ahead and finish the lineup with the 4 games, and then we'll make adjustments from there. Does that make sense, Coach?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, okay, so it's my pick now.
Yep.
Like honestly, I want to like from these 4 games, I'd want to go pay down at tight end.
Yeah.
And like plug in like Tyler Conklin against Denver.
Yeah.
Or even
adjust later.
Yeah.
Conklin's a good sleeper pick though.
Yeah, he gets a decent amount of targets. Like Zach Wilson's going to check down to his thing.
Yeah, I actually kind of
Denver gives up points to the tight end.
Hackett and the Jets have said this is a revenge game.
So
against them.
Let's just plug that in because it fits with our thing, and then we can fix this lineup. So where do we want to fix it?
Jameson Williams.
Defense and I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, we're not playing the Giants defense. You just plugged in the minimum salary to show that if you do that and then you pay down a tight end, you have like 5,800. That's insane.
So
we're not playing a defense from these 4 games.
I didn't want to play this, but I want to
say we don't have to play a defense from these 4 games, but everyone else should be.
I wanted to play Justin Jefferson here in this lineup. I think it makes sense.
For sure.
Even if he's chalky, we have the money. We're so different with Cooper Kupp. I think Justin Jefferson makes sense.
See, and I want to be able to play a better defense. I was thinking go to like AJ Brown and correlate it.
That also makes sense.
And then we can pay up for a better defense.
Could I argue that Smith is better than Brown though?
You could, but we also need to spend some money.
Oh, fair enough.
I think AJ against the Rams will actually be quite good. I could also see Devonta against the Rams being quite good.
Because I think what we could do is pay up for Smith and Kelsey, could we not? I don't actually know if Smith is part of the middle. Okay. So he's still kind of high though. Gov, Evan, do you have any theory of what you would do different on this lineup? I might even get off of Thielen just because we have a lot of home runs. So if we're going to go home run, we might as well just wing big for the high upside guys. And maybe Thielen is safe, but you could argue maybe we need some safety in the lineup.
I would go.
We're not working. This is like we're not looking at safety. This is a tournament lineup. No safety.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So then there's Adam
have
Thielen,
a little bit of chalk with Montgomery and A-Chain. We kill that with Kupp and Thielen and Conklin and like a Stafford stack in it of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So like AJ Brown's not pulling a lot of ownership. Like really, what's pulling ownership is our running backs and Wandale.
Yep.
So I like using that 1,800 to like change one of them.
Here's the thing.
Or like again, we're not playing the Giants defense, so
take the Giants defense out. Yeah. Can we play the Saints defense, please?
We can play the Dolphins defense against the Giants.
I'm fine with that. If we want to just go all out on defense,
but if we did that, I wouldn't want to play Rondale. So like who else? What was the other defense you were saying?
Saints.
Yeah, they're 3K. We could play them.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I do not want to play the Patriots defense at all this year. They lost a starting corner, which I know they got Jason Jackson back to New England, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they lost their best pass rusher. The sacks aren't going to be there anymore. I fade the Patriots defense the rest of the year until we see something, is what I'd be saying right now.
I honestly might go up to the Chiefs because like we're not playing Chiefs in this lineup.
True.
So if we go to the Chiefs defense, we have a little bit of a bet on that game. We know Minnesota's going to throw. So like Cousins could easily throw a pick or two.
Yeah.
He did last.
Yeah. Chiefs defense isn't horrible. So like I could see doing the Chiefs. That might fit with this lineup.
They had the pass rusher to get the sacks. I always like to have one dominant pass rusher on the team.
And we know how much Cousins loves to fumble.
Yeah, so like I think Chiefs defense is the play here.
Yeah, let's go Chiefs defense. I like it.
Yeah.
That's different.
It's literally right there, Logan.
Hey, we have this conversation every week. You think like I'm going to change, but I promise you.
I know.
Logan, one day we will do a podcast in person, and I will personally reach out.
Sit back now, drink coffee, and I'll not clicking the button.
Can I make a crazy suggestion to replace Wandale? Can we?
That is very crazy.
If you replace my pick, I get to replace yours.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, I would say we should take a chance on Nick Westbrook-Ikine instead of Wandale Robinson.
Wandale Robinson isn't a chance. Wandale Robinson is the second receiver in this offense.
How are the Giants going to move the ball though?
How are the Titans going to move the ball when they don't got a professional quarterback?
The Dolphins have let people throw on them, to be fair.
Yeah,
yes.
Like Herbert was able to put up numbers. Allen was able to put up numbers.
Wilson put up
Even
numbers.
Russ was able to put up some numbers, although Miami put up more numbers.
I'm sorry, Evan, but Derrick Henry had to throw a touchdown pass because they don't even like their quarterback that much.
That is also a true statement.
This
They
is
haven't
very.
liked Tannehill for years, though.
No, I'm saying
That's even more of a statement, don't you think?
Tennessee used Derrick Henry in the red zone as a quarterback because they didn't want to.
Okay, to be fair, they've always done that since he was young. But
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to go with like a sleeper pick, because he can surprise you by getting 6 targets against the Bengals, you know?
here's the thing: surprising me with any Titans receiver is 10 points.
If we're playing good Titans receiver, I would rather play Hopkins.
That's
I mean,
exactly what I feel.
would we not be happy with 10 points, or do we think we can do better?
Robinson,
I think Wando's doing that.
Robinson will get you 10 points.
Yeah, Robinson got 6.
Look at those targets.
Yeah.
They're really going up.
Wait, didn't he have a few rushing attempts too?
He may have, yes. So, like,
Yeah.
he's getting touches.
Now, I don't like the Wandale Robinson play if Saquon Barkley was to play, but he does do everything that Barkley does, basically like over the middle. So I'm okay if we take out, but if we do that, I'm taking out Thielen. So
I think. Here's the thing: we played Wandale all the time last year. We played him before he was known. Then he started to get traction. Then he got hurt. Who's to say he doesn't come back and be the same exact player that he was last year? A good PPR guy to have.
last theory, because I do think we have a good line here, and I don't know if we really need to debate it more. Go. Why don't you give the?
Yeah, I know. I kind of like it the way it is, even with the 500 on the table. Like everything looks really good, honestly.
Do we want to just leave the 500?
Yeah. Like if anything, there is one. I do have one.
There's one
sneaky. There's one sneaky wide receiver play I would get in there. But what do you have, Donnie?
I would move from H. I don't know how to say his name. H-Chain to Mostert, just because we have the extra salary and it's ownership stuff. But
yeah, that $100 we could do.
Like, I would go to.
We don't really need it because we have low-owned plays. If anything, I would rather take just like cut it by a hair, get rid of 11% owned Thielen, go down to like 6% owned Zay Jones using that $500.
Yeah, I would take out Conklin and go to Zach Ertz, get a little bit more safety.
See, I'm not trying to get into chalk. If anything, I'm trying to get off of chalk.
Yeah, I guess, but I think Cooper Kupp gives us such a high upside, and like playing Stafford, I don't think we got to worry about ownership.
I mean, I could. Don't you think I could just argue though that Schultz is the same like play as Ertz almost?
It's close.
No,
it's close.
I don't like Dalton Schultz in anything.
Schultz is getting decent red zone usage, but like I like the lineup as is. Honestly, Stafford.
I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna keep this. We're not gonna change.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it.
But I did want to close on this because I've been trying to bite my tongue on it. Donnie, what or not? Anyone can actually answer this, but I'm more for go. What do you think Wandale Robinson and Etienne are going to do combined? Because I do think that's an interesting conversation. One's expected for ceiling, one's playing for upside, but they're in the same game. So, like, how do you see them pushing each other and kind of helping each other out, if at all?
I don't like.
The Dolphins need to blow them out so Etienne gets touched.
Like, I don't know if the Dolphins need to blow them out for A-Chain to get a bunch of touchdowns. I think A-Chain can get his touchdowns before that.
I guess
Wandale's just, I was about to say, Wandale's just scary to me because, like, I understand why he's being played in cash and why he's gaining ownership because of the safety and floor, especially while Barkley's out. But to answer your question, I think that realistically they probably only go for 40, and that's if A-Chain gets above 25.
Where is this being played?
If A-Chain only gets to 15, 20, then the two of them might only get 25, 30 points. Because it's realistic that Wandale only gets 10 to 12. It really is. I see what you say when he's like he can get to like 20, 25 maybe if he catches a touchdown, maybe catches 8 balls or something, has a good
If
day.
you're looking for him to score 20-25, then I think you're going for the wrong thing. But
that's kind of my point. And like forget the name. Let's just call him Evan. You know, Evan Saltzman is 3K this week, and he's playing for the Giants. It's not so much what you think Robinson can do it by himself. It's like, what does Robinson allow you to do with other people? So what I'm saying is like H8 and Robinson, how many points do they have to get combined in that game where you feel like it was a good play? So if Robinson gets 10, but H8 gets 20, was it a good play? Or maybe Robinson gets 15, and like that's kind of the idea of it. It's like, what does it open up, and what does it give you in the whole lineup?
yeah.
So, Evan, your idea kind of correlated back to Gov's. Why don't you refresh the people what you wanted to do, and then Gov can do the same, and then we'll build that lineup.
Yeah. So my crazy idea was just to not pick any players from teams that are below 500 in the standings right now, which is a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams right now.
I think that's going to be way too hard, and it kills correlation, and it's just...
That's okay. It's going to challenge us for a change.
That makes me really quiver just the thought of that.
I know it does, and that's why I want to do it, because I do think like when you put yourself in an uncomfortable.
I don't even know what teams are below 500 at this point.
It's okay. We got a list, man. We'll work through it. I think this is. I don't think it's going to work, but I do think it's an interesting conversation piece. I know Gus said he'd be right back.
I'm here. I'm back.
Back ready. Yeah. So
Can you write that in the chat, Evan, please?
That's what I'm doing right now.
I think he is right now, buddy. So, Gov, what was your idea as Evan kind of pulls up the list of teams that we can choose from here? Maybe you're not there. So, I think this is a good amount of teams, though, and I think we.
So we want to pick from these teams or stay away.
We can't play any of the players on these teams.
No Panthers, no Jets. Ooh, no Giants. Okay, no Vikings.
No Vikings.
No Broncos. That fades the whole game. No Cincinnati. Okay, no Arizona. That fades. So that fades 2 games.
And again, not that we can't edit afterwards. Not that we can't edit afterwards, but let's try to build it. Let's try to put ourselves in an uncomfortable situation and see what kind of uncomfortability comes from familiarity in this type of build. How do we want to start the order? It doesn't matter to me.
As long as Evan doesn't pick first, I guess. Or, Evan's last. I went last time, so I guess I can go first.
Yeah, that makes sense, Don. What do you want to do? I know this one made you the most sick, so let's give you the most optionality in this disgusting lineup. No.
Gosh.
Hey, you do know
money
is dirty, right, Donnie? Money is very dirty and nasty. So maybe this lineup wins us a lot of money.
Let's go with probably the safest tight end that we can, and Mark Andrews.
All right.
Oh no, Kansas City plays this slate too, but
yeah, they do. That's why.
Let's throw Kelsey in. Let's throw Kelsey in.
Yeah,
that makes a lot more sense.
Get the chalk out of the way.
He is coming in very chalky. Yes.
He is.
Yes. Right. Surprisingly.
What I like about this is we could put him in the flex if we need to as well. Because he's a light game of the PMR, I wouldn't mind that. Who else wants to make a pick? Is anyone itching? Like, gotta make this pick? I gotta play.
I do too. Like,
both of you just pick. 3. We'll go, on go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Zay Flowers.
Nice.
I heard Flowers. Who's the other one?
Cam Akers.
Oh,
we can't play a Viking. We can't play.
I was about to say we can't play a Viking.
Okay. Oh, sorry. My brain just goes right to correlation immediately. I forgot the prompt of the thing. So Zay Flowers makes sense.
Pittsburgh has been pretty much a sieve
That's
defensively.
right.
I'll take Flowers, even with Bateman and Odell back. Flowers is just getting all the targets and work.
Okay.
I was like, could we just do if you were actually going to put in Andrews, I would have started building out the Lamar stack.
I
And
was
I don't
thinking
even
of
like
Lamar
Lamar.
stack when I said Andrews.
All right. Let me just do it then. Makes the most sense. Let me get an obvious play in there. I think it's lower on than it should be. Give me Rashi Rice. His target shares went up. His usage on the fields went up. Like, I think this rookie's starting to really blossom.
I'm actually surprised he's that cheap.
He is cheap.
Yeah.
Wow.
All of them are kind of cheap.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of cheap
Guy
guys.
Moore and MBS have been running more routes, and so they're up in the 4K range. Same thing with Tony. But, like, yeah, Rashi's going to be there too.
Wow.
And
Okay.
Tony has games like Tank Delich. What is Tank Delich price? Just out of curiosity, I haven't seen him this
He
week.
is one of the cheapest Texans as well. I'll pull it up.
I know we can't play it. Wait, can we?
Yeah.
It's close.
Houston and Atlanta are not on that list.
I was just curious. Yeah, I was just curious as to what his thing was. Yeah.
4,800.
So, like, even Tank Dell's had crazy fantasy games this year, and he's super cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's shocking to me.
He's honestly had a T.J. Hawkinson like start where it's like he was getting a ton of targets. Everyone wanted to play him. Everyone loved the value. He has one bad game, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's terrible. He sucks." It's like, no, he just got a bunch of short yardage targets. Like, he just didn't get the big splash play last week. That's all. He's still the same play to me.
He is.
Is it my pick next?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Okay. Give me Alvin Kamara.
Kamara.
I like it.
Oh, boy.
I like it in the PMR heavy website. I would not like it on FanDuel.
All right, and it's your pick again, Evan.
Yes. Let's go with.
I'm gonna research something really quick, so go ahead and take your time.
Yeah. Let me go with another wide receiver here. To bring in some correlation, give me Michael Thomas.
This is disgusting. This is so gross.
I love that you hate this for some reason, Donnie. Not because I want you to suffer, but because I think this is a good exercise.
It is a great exercise.
Logan just picked.
Am I pick next?
Yeah.
Let's do it. It makes the most sense. We have the money.
I hate this play, honestly, in this lineup. I'll explain later if you want me to. I'll explain it.
Yeah. Go ahead. You have any plays next?
Honestly, like,
You can't correlate it with.
I'm looking at this lineup.
Yep.
We can't correlate at all.
Yeah, we can.
What are you talking about? Like, we can't bring
Pittsburgh-
back, but we already
Yeah,
have
we
plenty
can't-
of correlation. We have a Mahomes double. Mahomes is going off against Minnesota.
Yep.
That's our bet. We're also saying that while Derek Carr is not the top scoring quarterback on the slate, New Orleans does have a good game against New England by playing Kamara and Thomas.
Nothing like playing.
I
one
do
of
that.
the
I do that stack a lot where I play running back, wide receiver from a team. Normally I go with the alpha. So normally it would be something like Kamara Olave. But like, I don't hate this
The
one.
Saints have yet to score 20 points.
So, PPR, baby.
I want touchdowns.
What
You
really
can't bet
sucks
on those.
is like, there's a guy I want to put in, but you took him out of the player pool.
Yeah, you did.
Bad, yeah. Oh, who the
Hey,
fuck?
we
really-
can fix this
You know
lineup.
what? You know what? You know what? We're gonna pay down at running back.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna pay down at running back. Yeah, you're gonna like it like a dirty
Dirty triple stack of Mahomes. Dirty triple stack of Mahomes.
Donnie says this line is dirty enough. We don't need
Oh, you're right. You're right. It's dirty enough. We're just going to play Tyler Algier.
Ooh.
Oh, I do not like that. Of course you.
Houston, you can run on. I love Bijan this
he's
week,
cheap.
but Algier gets plenty of work, and he
He's
can totally
cheaper now.
vulture some shit. And at 4,700, he ain't got to do much.
He's keeping now.
You want me to make this the most disgusting lineup ever and just put Taysom Hill in the flex?
Again, we wouldn't. You can't do that. We wouldn't. There's no 10K defense.
Well, this lineup's disgusting anyway, so.
But realistically, you could pick anyone about 6K range. No, and we have plenty of options at defense. So
Scroll up to the top of the defenses, please. I don't.
4,200 is the most. So that would leave you with exactly 5K left.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and. Let's throw the Lions defense, man. They got good pass rush going against a young quarterback. Force them to make mistakes.
That leaves us 5,400 for a flex.
Also, I just want to say this. I really wanted to play Lamar Jackson before we got to finishing out this, just because it was such a puke lineup with Michael Thomas and Kamara with no possible touchdowns. Just give him Lamar and hope he goes completely off. But that's how I felt.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. Like, we actually needed Michael Thomas because Kamara's one of the top 5 chalkiest guys being played tomorrow. So, like him, Mahomes, Kelsey, Rashid, that's kind of a chalky stack. We needed low-owned Flowers. We need low-owned Algier.
Yeah.
We need low-owned Michael Thomas to
What do you
allow
think
us to play whatever we need. Like, I personally, with 5,400 left, I would go with 2-2. PMR, late game hammer.
I can't go 2-2 because
1%
they have 2
owned.
guys.
I don't want to do that with Cup.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, here's the thing. 2-2, we can assume 20 targets are going between Puka and Cup. At least 20 targets should go between those two.
Maybe 25 split, yeah.
Where
Getting
the
the-
hell is 2-2 going to get a target?
Stafford's going to throw it 40 times. If Cooper Cup gets 15 and Puka gets 15, there's 10 to go
That's
to
a
2-2
disgusting play.
Are we assuming that Higbee's going to get nothing?
I'm assuming
Right,
Higbee maybe
that's
gets
what I
5 to 6, which means
Yeah,
2-2 also gets 5 to 6.
What
'Cause I
about the running
don't
back? Stafford
actually
loves
think
throwing to his
Kupp
running
and
back.
Puka get
So-
15.
Hold on though. How would you guys want to fix this lineup if we did fix
There-
it?
There's no salvaging this.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, no, I don't want to do Laporta with double tight end. Oh, God, no.
Why? I don't even think that's bad.
Laporta makes sense in this lineup.
He's going to be the presumed top pass catcher for the Lions, is he not?
He
Yeah.
already is second.
I really like this play, but you do need to switch Laporta and Kelsey.
I would.
but-
That's what I'm saying. Like, we haven't even decided if this is a lineup.
The problem is Laporta is another guy who's surprisingly pulling ownership.
I'm gonna excuse myself while you guys argue over this and throw some food. I'm gonna use the restroom and I'll be right back. And
There's
hopefully,
nothing to argue over, Logan. I'm just going to puke while I look at the stairs.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
I think there's still plenty for 2-2 to get there. Like, they use 3 wide receiver sets. Like, I think 2-2 still has a fly.
Hey,
You guys don't like that? Like, Pickens correlates on the other side as a Flowers. Again, I don't mind going running back, wide receiver. We could just play Gus with Zay.
I'm
instead
fine
of
with
playing
that.
Lamar.
Hey, we can clear this lineup and start again. We're not beholden to this lineup. I think Evan's point was he wanted to see what it did. He
Yeah.
wanted to make
Yeah.
us think. So now we can
I just
take-
don't think this works. I think some weeks it could. I just don't think this week it does.
I'll be right back.
What's the thing that you think throws it off?
I don't like playing Saints this week.
What if I told you
I
the
don't
New
love
Orleans New
the
England
home
game is
back.
like? What if I told you the New Orleans New England game is like the second best game when it comes to pass rate over expectation. Like both of these teams throw more than they should in neutral situations. This could actually be more of a pass-heavy throwing game than people think with New Orleans.
Okay, yeah, we get to watch Derek Carr and Mac Jones throw 5 interceptions. Awesome.
They might both also throw 3 touchdowns while doing that.
But Donnie, weren't you just the one saying earlier in the show that the Patriots defense just got weaker with injured guys? So who's going to stop the Saints?
The Saints! The Saints are going to stop the team themselves. They haven't scored over 20 points.
So what you don't like about this is that you think the Saints are just going to implode and do nothing.
Yeah, like they have every week, yeah.
Other than the fact that Michael Thomas still puts up points, Kamara actually had a pretty good day, catching 13 balls last week. Like, you don't like the fact that you don't like the Saints team and you don't like the game, but the game actually has a better environment than you think, and it's probably more likely to get points from the New Orleans side than the New England side.
Easily. But regardless of the points put on the board, I think the problem, Donnie, is that I think you're too focused on potential touchdowns, which is way too fluid of a stat that you can't bank on. You got to go PPR volume, and that's
and that's what these two guys. Yeah, that's what these two guys are. It's 10 target Kamara and slant boy Michael Thomas. And if they both get in the end zone,
can we even call him a slant boy anymore? He's not even that much of a slant boy.
He just hasn't been used that way.
Yeah,
he could be. He could be slant boy.
He could be, not with this coach.
Dude, he is getting as many targets as you would want.
Yeah, that's not bad from an older, passes by
older
Michael Thomas.
number 2. Yeah.
Donnie, I'm not saying even that you're wrong, but
I'm not beholden on touchdowns. It's just I need a potential to score a touchdown. I don't see any potential of them scoring touchdowns.
See, and like both of these teams have been throwing it more, especially like New Orleans actually is like one of the top teams throwing it down the field this year. So like you have, I think honestly, I think you're looking at the box score and being like New Orleans hasn't scored points. And if you actually look at the metrics, both these teams are going to chuck it tomorrow. It's just you are now expecting a bad are you saying New Orleans and New England both have really good defenses?
They both have good defenses, yeah. A lot of talent on both defenses. And what scares me is the New Orleans, yes, they get down the field, but they never punch it in.
Mm-hmm.
But they also
Derek Carr gets in the red zone. Maybe that fixes it a little bit. But when Derek Carr gets in the red zone,
that's the bet we're taking. Is that Michael Thomas still gets us down the field, and Kamara's able to get in for some touchdowns against a weakened New England defense that may not be very good. And if for some reason Mac Jones is also pushing this game, maybe they both end up scoring like 24 to 28 points instead of 17 to 13. Like, I think that's what you see. You see 17 to 13 and don't want any part of it, which I perfectly understand. But there are metrics in this game that say it could easily be 28-24. And we're banking on New Orleans having the 28 of that.
Okay.
Agreed.
Like, and here's the thing is, I know it might seem like we're piling up on Donnie, but I think this is big. It's a healthy dialogue, and I think in all transparency, that's why.
There's no way you think he's going to get close to 14 targets again.
Yeah, I do.
I don't think he does that, but like he could easily get 10. 10 plus 12, 13 rushes. That's Kamara. That's what he always was. And he could totally smash with that 1,000 times.
Well, this is my point I was going to make. Donnie, if I told you that Travis Kelce and Rashid Rice were going to get 20 targets combined, would you think that's crazy?
Kelce probably gets it himself almost.
So that's what I'm saying. You're saying Travis Kelce and Rice could get 20 targets. So like you don't think that's crazy?
I think they get about 25.
So what if I told you that Michael Thomas and Kamara could get 15? They're much cheaper. But you're viewing it from a biased standpoint based on a team total, are you not? And it's okay if you have that perception of the offense. Like that's why we do this exercise. Like that's the whole point of Evan saying, was let's take something that is perceived gross and see if it makes sense. And that's why I trust you with this exercise, because I knew you'd be able to explain yourself and you would be able to work through the process. You're right. This game,
I don't like this game atmosphere. This game is a puke game, in my opinion.
No, and a lot of people are going to see that. But I did want to point out that like there are underlying metrics that say this game could be better than you think.
right.
And we should maybe look at pieces from it. That's why I look at the lineup and like, yes, there are pieces that you're not safe about. But that's what makes it a tournament lineup, because we know Mahomes can easily go off with that double. And we know Zay Flowers can destroy Pittsburgh. Hell, I even know Algier can steal a touchdown against Houston.
Right.
Like
I'm not
all
worried
of those
about
are things that make sense. The one thing that's iffing with you is you don't think New Orleans is going to score. But if
well,
they
it's
do,
not just this New Orleans. No, it's not just this New Orleans thing. It's not just that about the lineup.
Okay, what
It's
is
just
it?
a piece that sticks out.
The what? I'm sorry.
This is just what sticks out. The New Orleans plays I don't love.
Do you have to
Zay
love it?
Flowers
Though?
thing. No, you don't have. That's the point. We don't have to love anything in a lineup.
Right.
I don't love this slate at all. This slate's my least favorite slate of all of them this season.
But that's what I love about this. Because, like, let's be honest, let's be transparent, because that's what we are on this show. If this lineup wins, you're going to be as happy as Evan or as you know, go.
I'm 100% fine being wrong about it.
Right.
But
no, that's what I'm saying. I know that about you, Donnie, but I don't think the people do. Like, I think there is value to this podcast and you having this emotional reaction and like talking through it. Because I don't think people understand that you are okay being wrong. Like, I know you are because I know who you are as a person. But like, I think there is value to that process. Like, what are we okay with being wrong about? And I don't think we do that enough. And I think that spoke to what Evan's whole process was tonight. That was so good.
Kamara's such a weird back because I hope he can rush for 100 yards and, get another 10 targets. But he only got 11 attempts last week on the ground. I like to see my running backs work more on the ground. And I get that he had 14.
But that's just how Kamara always is. Like, Kamara's been used like CMC, but you don't give him 30 touches. You only give him like 22.
Can we be honest, Donnie? Kamara's never been your guy. And if anything, this is just my interpretation.
I have liked Kamara in the past. I was very high on Kamara. Just a couple.
We've known each other a long time, and I think you trust me to know I don't mean this as an offense. I think what pisses you off about Kamara is it's like the ex-girlfriend theory, Donnie, where it's like that's what you wanted Stevenson to be.
I never liked Stevenson coming out of the draft. You knew I didn't like Stevenson out of the draft.
But
really?
I did not.
You wanted a receiving and like you love everything that Kamara does. And I think seeing it drives you nuts.
No, it doesn't. It wouldn't work in the Patriots offense right now. In the past, it would have, but they had that in the past.
I kind of like this lineup for as aggressive as it is. Okay, let's do this, and then we can build one more lineup if you guys got the time. We'll just rapid fire one more.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you guys would want to change for sure in this lineup? Because we kind of went through it with this like strict structure that you couldn't play anyone. So like going back and trying to fix it or correlate it better or like even put some polish on it. Anything you would do differently or that we should consider?
Well, like I said, I'd rather go Gus over Laporta, but if you open up everything. If you open up everything, then I would play Addison as a bring back.
Okay.
I like Addison better than Gus.
Yeah.
See, that's part of it. I don't like that we don't have bringbacks.
Fair
enough. But if we get rid of Laporta, we can play Addison at 53.
I want to get everyone's fixes, and then we'll see what we can do. Evan, anything you would do, completely this is your lineup, you have to come in and fix it. What's the first thing you do to address it?
I mean, I'll be honest, like, the more I've been looking at this lineup with the combo of players we do have, this is actually starting to grow on me because we're taking some good chances with Algier and Rice, and we're with some surefire plays that, yeah, they're going to be chalky, these Chiefs players, but that's going to be the key to getting over and with a potential chance to win. I don't even know if we necessarily have to play Laporta if we pick Addison instead, because Jefferson can't take all the targets.
Right.
He can't. What I would
And
say about
like if Mahomes is pushing, like
right.
Cousins is going to be throwing.
Exactly.
Or if Cousins makes one mistake early, I mean,
What's the difference between playing Tyler Azier and Cam Akers though? That would be my one change.
Akers sucks.
Akers hasn't proven that he's getting the work.
I don't know. He got quite a bit of work in his first game, did he not? Let's look.
He didn't play. He didn't start over Madison. He didn't outsnap him.
So we
Yeah,
got
29% against Carolina.
yeah. I was looking because I knew it said here.
Yeah, Madison is the clear number one, and Akers is just a change of pace. I don't like it.
I'm just wondering.
I wouldn't say number one.
I knew their price was the same. I will say about Laporta, he is second in the team with targets, and that was with St. Brown. He is on historic pace for targets for rookie tight ends. I'm actually with Evan here. I wanted to hate this lineup, but the more I kind of marinated with it, the more I liked it. So, if anything, I pay down on defense and I get up in the flex and get to something better. So, if you guys wanted to correlate that way, what would you do? Maybe we keep the defense, but that's just what I would do. I would pay down at defense. I would get up in the flex. I'll put Tyler back.
See, I like going with the Lions defense, honestly.
You might just like the lineup.
I do. Like, honestly, I like the lineup. Like, I don't like Laporta. Like I said, I would rather go Gus or correlate it with Addison or something else.
Okay.
But, like, I like the rest of the lineup.
Do we want to just swap out Laporta for Jordan Addison?
Yeah, I would just do that.
We could do that.
I'm fine with that.
Are you good with that, Donnie?
Yeah.
That gives us our bring back.
So then we got Travis there. Yeah, I don't mind this.
So then if we want to spend up a little more on defense, we could potentially try the Eagles, but I'm fine with the Lions.
See, what's weird is so Laporta was getting a lot more targets, but they were short yardage targets. Jordan Addison obviously got more explosion, but only saw one target last week. But if you go back to the duration of the season, he's seen 6 and 5 and 8 targets. So like, it's just what version do you expect?
Well, like you got to understand, like last week they didn't have to throw.
Exactly. And
because one, it's a slogger of a game at Carolina, and two, our secondary is actually pretty good.
And I like it because of the PMR. I actually like this lineup a lot. The only thing I would do is that Tyler's not my play, but like if anything, this lineup says we want some grossness. This would be the gross play for me. So I can still
like him and Flowers are the low owned. Him, Flowers, and Michael Thomas are the low owned guys. Addison's not pulling a lot of ownership in that game. But, like, the Chiefs are, Kamara surprisingly is, but, like, we have enough low ownership for that.
And you know what's funny is you guys think these long shows do bad, but I'm telling you, for whatever reason, like, we gained, like, 8 subscribers last week. For some reason, these longer podcasts, I don't know if people just leave them on when they're, like, studying their exams or what happens, but they're getting good viewership. So let's try to build one more very quickly. I actually have a theory in mind, and maybe we can even pair it with a theory Gov might have.
Donnie, how you doing over there, by the way? Are you feeling okay after building that last lineup?
Yeah, no. It went against a lot of my things this week, so.
But that's kind of what you want, though, because let's be honest, you mentioned it, and that's what I appreciate about you, Donnie. You haven't liked this slate at all. And so, like, I can tell you there are slates you're just not going to like. And so, on weeks like that, you probably should just play less, honestly.
Ironically, this is the week where all the free lineups are.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, maybe this is the week where you just play, I mean, because you're not risking money, this is just the week where you play more risky. you say like, you know what? I'm playing two guys that nobody's playing. I'm playing the low owned Cooper Cup because or maybe you play Cooper Cup, or Jonathan Taylor, and you just like I'm playing all the high upside guys. I'm trying to find the lineup here. What am I missing it? Thought I had one more lineup for us. Is it this one? I don't want to. Yeah, this is the one.
Wouldn't that be some shit if that's like the template to use from now on, where you just pick something absurd, like pick all the above 500 teams, and then just go from there if you need bringbacks and correlation?
Well, the beautiful thing I like about this, and like I said, it's in the beginning, it's like I don't think any of us would build the lines we built, but the four of us all have great ideas. And so how does it fit in? How does that chaos theory make sense? And how do we make it make sense? It's not to say Donnie can stop the rain, but how do we get Donnie an umbrella so he can tolerate the rain? That's what we basically made him do with that last one. Gov, my theory is, and you can add to it if you got a better process built here. I don't care what we do. I don't care who makes the picks. The one thing I want us to do is, so we pick a player, right? You could say, I want to play X player. You got to tell me, not just like, I want to play this guy. You got to tell me how that guy is going to score 20 points. And if you can't tell me, or you think like there's somebody else who can score higher, you can make that case and we can replace him. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So like, if I want to play Wandale Wyman, that's fine, but I got to tell you realistically how Wandale scores 20. I can't just say like I want to play him. So that way we can try.
This is my least favorite way to build a lineup, because I just don't think it's realistic to expect every one of your plays to be able to score 20. So there's nothing wrong with a safe play.
But then we lose.
That's true. Like, we should be trying to build a lineup where everyone has a path to 20 plus.
Right. So
maybe not the punt tight end, but like, does he have a path to a touchdown?
Right, that's what I mean.
But like that's like one like the tight end in the defense I get, unless you're playing Kelsey.
Right.
But like everyone else in the lineup, even the 3K Wandale has to have that thought.
And Donnie, maybe it's not 20 points, maybe it's 30, maybe it's 15. The idea is, how do we make it so everyone has a flame on our lineup? That's what we got to do. Everyone has to exceed value on our lineup.
That's a better way of putting it.
Right. But if that doesn't happen, we lose. So when you make your picks, I want to know how that guy is going to score at least 20. Like, just use that as a baseline. Does anyone have a pick they want to go first?
Tank Dell.
Dell? How does he get 20? Like, how does he exceed value?
I mean, Tank Dell right now is sitting at 4,800. I don't understand how the fuck he's doing it either, because I don't trust Jesse Bates's secondary with this Atlanta defense. And Tank, while he's not going to be, he's not going to be perfect against a superior Pittsburgh secondary, he's proven he can get to 10 targets in a game. And especially if he falls into the end zone, or maybe even if he doesn't fall into the end zone, he's capable of going over 100 yards and passing, because CJ loves chucking it downfield to him. So I don't see why not.
Fair. I like that point. Donnie, I know you don't like a lot on this slate. So, like, what's the one guy that you like that you're like, this guy's he's not going to disappoint me? Everyone else on this slate, they piss me off, man. They give you some kind of visceral reaction. But this one guy, for sure is going to get you there. Who's that guy for you?
Travis Kelce.
I was saying, there's got to be one guy in this slate that you just love. Why do you love Travis? Tell the people why Travis Kelce is a must play.
Well, I don't, to be honest, I don't have him in the lineup. He doesn't fit for me this week.
Right.
He's by far the best tight end in the league. It's not even close. He's going to get.
It's fair to say you like safety. That's fair point.
He's Mahomes' favorite target against a really bad defense. Yeah. It's not crazy to think he can just have a 3-touchdown day. I've even talked myself into squeezing him into a lineup for me.
Yeah. Well, Gov, when's the last time Travis Kelce disappointed in targets? Like, forget him getting hurt, but the guy just sees volume. And so to Donnie's point, like, he's a guarantee. Like if he fails, like the whole slate failed. Like, it's crazy shit happened. Like I can live with that. Who is the one guy that like you're gonna make the case? He's going to get there. You don't know how, you don't care what gets in there. He's just gonna get there.
Bijan. They're already giving him all the volume. He's gone crazy. He hasn't scored a touchdown since that receiving one in week 1.
Yeah, it's there, isn't it? Like he does.
Like it's
everything
all
that he
there for him to
does.
just get a touchdown, get 100 yards, and have a great day.
Honestly, look at this. If he had the touchdowns, and I love that you made this point because I didn't want to play him at first either, and it was actually FanDuel that got me on the play because FanDuel running backs are more valuable over there. So I just really started to look into like yards per attempt, and I'm like, damn, Bijan gets almost 7 yards every time he touches the ball. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's gotten 20 points, but no touchdowns, like only one. Guys, if he gets touchdowns, he's at like 25, 30, right? Like easy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And I think,
And it's just a big stolen too.
Yeah.
And guys, we didn't want to play him when he was like the sexy guy, but now it's like weird. Like
He's proven himself.
And he's cheaper than he was in week 1, and people played him week 1. Like that's what's crazy to me.
It's also worth noting in week 1 that he only got 63% of the snaps and 10 rushing attempts, and he still got over 20 fantasy points.
But I still don't think it was the greatest of plays. Like
Guys,
week 1, I
True,
still
but
would
he is
not
getting
ever
a
have
better.
played.
But he is getting a better play. He's shown that he can get
No,
more.
I
volume.
have him in my lineup here.
Yeah.
Like, I love this play.
I think this works good. Yeah. Okay.
There's a play I gotta make because I just don't know how it fails. And if I almost dare you to tell me how it fails. And like I know I said, hey, you gotta make the case. I'm saying I don't think there is a case that he doesn't get 20.
Basically what I said for Kelsey.
Outside of a major injury. Like if there's a case, tell me. He sees every bit of the red zone targets for the Lions.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. There, no
You
argument.
don't need to make a case. Yep. Go ahead.
He is playing the Jamal Williams role and doing way better at it than Jamal did last year. So I don't see why that would be an argument.
In fact, my money's where my mouth is. The first thing I did when I found out Gibbs was out, I raced the sports book. I said, where are they wrong about the Detroit Lions? There's got to be something they're wrong about, right? And they had David Montgomery at 2.5 receptions over under at plus money. I'm like, that's an easy smash for me because like you're going to take away St. Brown's target and Gibbs. Like he's going to get 2.
For a quarterback that loves to throw under.
The throws underneath, very efficient, right? What do we do with the rest of this line? Guarantee you got to get at least 20 or at least try. You got to get that high upside.
I got it. If you guys don't want to jump ahead,
What's your next guy?
My guy is going to be Puka.
There you go.
I would have said Cooper Kupp, but I don't mind.
Yeah, that's why I want to not go Cooper Kupp because I don't think he's going to be on a snap count. But Puka's already got potential. But if Kupp is also on a snap count too,
you could argue that both of them just help each other, right?
Both, yeah, they both could. Honestly, is it crazy to think they both score 20 this week?
Like it's a bird in the hand scenario. Cooper Kupp takes away attention from Puka and vice versa. I don't see a problem with it.
Because I still honestly do not think that Puka scares most defenses.
Yeah, it's really weird because we're up to week 5 and Puka's still dominating all the teams that the Rams have faced so far. And this feels like
it's like they don't give him the attention.
Yeah, and it feels like blasphemy to be doubting Philly's secondary because they've been historically great. But the Rams offense, on the other hand, this is a damn good firepower with Stafford throwing again. I mean,
now, Evan, can I make this point real quick? Everyone says like, "Oh, Jamar Chase, he's a great receiver. He's a great receiver." Guys, Burrow's going to turn around, and that could all be true. But like, look at his numbers, right? Not bad, but not great. But Puka's done everything but better than Jamar Chase. But no, and now and now the offense gets better, and people are like, "Oh, don't play Puka." It's like he's
Nope,
got.
I have both this week.
You got them both in the lineup.
Yeah, I have a Stafford stacked with Puka and Cup.
Nice. It's going to be different. But what I'm saying is, Puka's done everything right so far this season, right? And it's similar to Gov's point with Bijan Robinson. He's only got one touchdown, guys. Like, look at all these numbers and only one touchdown.
And
I don't
so
need to
weird.
worry about
Like-
touchdowns because he's gotten the volume in PPR to not
Well, that's
give a
exactly
shit.
it, though. But I'm saying like that's what we're shooting for is upside. It's
Yeah.
like we don't got to worry about it because the volume's good enough, Evan. If you
Yep.
get the touchdown, then that's like then we're dancing. We're already
Can
at the
anyone
party.
explain to me though why? Like, am I crazy to think that Puka's just like not getting the attention that he should this year?
I don't think you are.
Like, I get it. He's not the number one in this offense anymore, especially. But Puka has been historically great to start off his career.
Yeah, I have a quarterback in mind, but I don't know if you guys will like it or not.
I am trying to fill out this lineup to see if it's even possible.
And while we're thinking about this, Henry Vincent has a start 3 question for us.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
Let's go and help the man out.
Let's see. Tyreek, Puka, Ayuk, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers. Start 3. Tyreek, Puka, Ayuk.
Yeah, Tyreek, Puka, and Ayuk, man.
If those are the only restrictions, and we just pick from this pool, buddy, I can't argue with that.
The only other thing is I'd say Collins over Ayuk if you really don't like. I don't know.
I would have said Zay over Ayuk, but yeah, like it's Tyreek, Puka, and then either Ayuk
Whatever game you like
or-
the 3.
Yeah, like I could even get the Garrett Wilson. I'm not behind it.
I can't believe
Yep.
Garrett Wilson is the worst option out of these because Garrett Wilson is great, but the fucking Jets are not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And guys, we have the most live viewers we've had all night. Like that's the thing is people think these long shows are bad. I'm telling you, this is the one we get the most viewership. I don't know if it's because most people shut down at this time, but I'm having fun. Let's keep this going. I know you guys might think this is gross. I think the play here is Zach Wilson. We can bring it back.
That's disgusting.
We can bring it back with Garrett Wilson. We just talked about.
But we need Cap. We need Cap. So
Yeah, and he's under 5K. Like it's the O'Connell play from last week. You don't need much. The guy's under 5K.
Wait, are we still going for over 20 safe fantasy points though? Because
Yeah.
Wilson hasn't gotten there yet.
He has.
Oh wait, what's? Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I forgot. DraftKings has a little bit different than my other leagues.
That's what I'm saying. He has Evan, and he's like the cheapest he's been all year.
Yeah.
I mean, he has, but he also has had the worst quarterback.
There,
We get it.
of the
Yeah.
league.
yeah, but I'm saying there is no one cheaper for the upside. Oh, Wilson, and he's playing the carnival defense of the Denver Broncos.
What's
The
Wilson's
thing-
ownership?
I think it's
Not.
really low. Govkin,
It is pretty low. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a better option versus price and value here.
How do we want to then correlate this? Garrett Wilson?
Can't.
What about
Yep.
Brees Hall?
Can't.
Uh,
You need like 4K or lower just to be able to fit a min-price tight end and a defense.
fair.
Conklin?
I would say we go Rice. We don't even need to pair it necessarily.
I guess we could play Wilson naked if we have to.
Yeah,
We
Let's
kind of
He
have
does have rushing upside.
let's just build him naked and see what we can put around him. Like we could go with Wanda Robinson. We could go with Rice. You could go with
like I said, we're gonna have like 4K.
Let's put in Rice right now and
We
then
have like a
put in-
3K defense and a 4K flex.
Yeah, let's
what
put
we
in
have
a
left
cheap
with this.
defense. Who's the cheapest, highest upside defense like that you think's going to get there?
I mean, the chalk is Tennessee at 24.
I think
They've
Tennessee.
been a run. They've been a run stuffer. Indy is basically going to try to run the ball completely. That could just be a total crash fest.
Donnie, you kind of made that point. Like, you just think that game's ugly. It's nasty. Like, that game's low scoring. Nothing sexy happens. Like, they're a cheap defense.
Yep.
Yeah. That gives you 4,700 for a flex.
See, if we knew Stevenson wasn't going to play, Elliott would be a great play.
I disagree.
It looks like Stevenson's going to play anyways.
Drake London?
I would tell you we could go with this is where I think Wandale Robinson makes a lot of sense, and then we get up somewhere else.
Okay,
But
so we take Wandale and then we just come back to the lineup and see what we can change?
right, that's what I would do.
Change
Okay.
quarterback.
I wouldn't go all the way down to Wandale. Or Wandale doesn't.
If you go
there's
Wandale,
no
you
reason,
can
there's
change
no
quarterback, though.
correlation. If anything, you could stack him and go Lazard.
Yeah, he did like
I'm fine
Lazard,
with that.
or you could go Conklin
And then you still have 800 to move around somewhere.
because Conklin saw 6 targets too.
Yeah, and then you would still have
You could
800
both
to either
of them.
move up off the defense, move up off of Rashid, whatever.
I don't mind that.
All right.
Because really the bet is Lazard and Wilson go for like 35, 40 together.
Right, together. And
Together.
that's what it is. It's like
That's
together.
what it is. Those two together can put up 40 for under
Or-
under 9K.
Yeah, or even like Rice and Kelsey. That's what I'm talking about. It's more collective, points than anything. It's like, what does Kelsey and Rice get you? What does Puka and Stafford get you in another lineup? It's like you got to think of things like that. Go ahead.
If the goal is to look for players that could potentially hit 20, what makes us think Lazard is going to do that with Zach?
Well, that's what I was just going to
Well, that's the thing. That's why we're saying like Lazard might not be able to hit 20. But
Yeah.
let's say Zach actually gets a rushing touchdown and he hits
Yeah.
like 22 to 23. Then if we're saying that less than 9K block gets us 40, now we only need like 17 from Lazard. And if Wilson got you 20, he probably threw a touchdown. And like last week we saw, it could just go to Lazard.
Wait a minute. I got
Like,
an
that's
idea.
sort of what we're saying is like that block of salary gets us 40.
I got an
between-
idea.
But that could be 25-15 one way. Like it could be 20-20. Like who knows?
I got an idea. Is that not better?
Hawk and then Brees. Actually, yeah, I like that better.
Yeah.
I like that a lot better.
Same upside, really. I mean,
Yeah.
the only thing is, Hawk really pissed the bed last week, right? He
That's
really
okay.
pissed the bed. But every other week, he's done
Listen.
exactly what Kelsey's done. 11, 8, 9. I mean, it's really there.
No, it's right there. Yeah. Now,
So-
would you want to go up to like the Cardinals defense or anything with that 400?
At that point, I don't really care. I just want to find a way to fix it. And that way, we're not double stacking Kansas City. That way, we're getting a bring back. We're saying, like, that game's going to go
There's
off.
our mini from that
Here's
game.
the mini.
There's our piece from the Philly game.
Right.
There's our Tank and Bijan mini.
And let's
There's
be honest.
Montgomery, the best running back play on the slate. We're
T-
hoping to get a good chunk of points out of Zach and Brees
TJ
from
owes his
playing
money,
against
damn it.
Denver. Like, yeah, this lineup could work completely.
TJ owes his money, damn it. He got 4 points for us last week. This
Hey, we made $3 selling our TJ
True.
ratings. We're fine.
But no, seriously, that's the point though. It's like, we could hold a grudge here. That's what I mentioned to open the show. It felt like 2 decades ago. But like when I opened, it's sometimes you have to be willing to say, hey, this characteristic doesn't fit, with this scenario. And that's okay. Last week, if we knew that, TJ was going to get 4 points, we would have played somebody else. But it made sense then. It makes sense now. You can't be afraid to go back to it.
Listen, we played him all year. Whether it was Rainmakers, we bought into the guy.
Yep.
One game's not going to change that. He's still the same.
Agreed.
I know this show's been going along, so we're going to wrap up pretty quickly here. I will find some time this week to do a special Rainmakers update where even if I got to do it myself and I go through because I have a weird schedule and these guys don't always have my schedule. So I will promise that I will go through and give you guys an update on our portfolio one way or the other. If these guys want to join me, if we want to correlate something, that'd be perfectly fine. But we do need to give you guys an update on our best ball and our rainmakers and do kind of a deep dive. So you guys will get a bonus show this week. I can promise that. So, but anything else we want to mention tonight? I thought we built some really good builds, and we made each other uncomfortable, but in a fun, interesting way.
Before we close this lineup, do we just want to leave the 400 on the table?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm fine doing that. If you wanted to change defense from the chalky Titans to like Steelers
Let's go
against
with chalk here.
Baltimore or Cardinals against Cincinnati, either one of those would be fine with me.
Just eat the chalk.
Eat the chalk
I
on the
just need
400.
chalk.
All right.
The one thing I do kind of like is I know it hasn't really panned out, but I don't know. It's a bias that I always go back to. I liked defenses going against rushing quarterbacks. I feel like rushing quarterbacks take more sacks than most teams. So having the Titans go against Richardson is intriguing. But with that being said, I think we're good here. Any last minute thoughts? I'm glad we were able to help Henry out, Vincent, and hopefully he comes back, gives us a like and subscribe. If you guys have liked the content, do the same. Like I said, I know this was a bit long, but I thought it was a good show. Hopefully you guys play responsibly, keep a bankroll in mind, have a process, follow through with that process, and that way, no matter if you win, you lose, you're indifferent, you have money for the next week, you can apply that process again and get after it. Guys, good luck. As long as it makes sense, you have a chance. That's what I'll say. Good night. Good luck. See you guys tomorrow. Hopefully at the top of the leaderboards.
Go Bears.